Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to take a look at the newest Cold War premium, the T95E2 57. But before we get into the details of this premium, if you enjoy this video, please leave it a like, a comment, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you're interested in supporting me further, please check out the link to my Patreon in the description. Okay then, the newest Cold War premium. What is it, and should you get one? Well, it's the Era 1 Medium T95E2 57, which for the rest of this video I'll just call the E2. For those of you short on time, here's my quick review. It is the first tank in the game actually, to feature a manually activated hydropneumatic suspension, which gives the gun 14 degrees of gun depression. That's about all I can say that's good about this thing, and that is, in my opinion, that is the honest truth, because it is yet another variant of this awful looking T95 hull, and its performance is mediocre at best. I do not recommend that you buy this tank. The only time I would recommend that you buy this tank is if you have an itch that you just can't get rid of until you buy a tank that has a manually activated hydropneumatic suspension system. That's about the only reason someone would want to buy this tank, I think. So yeah, that's my short review. It's not worth getting, but we'll look into this a little bit more. Let's look at the details, starting with the gun. Its gun has average penetration on the standard ammunition, but the shell velocity is 914 meters per second. A seasoned World of Tanks player will know to lead shots. You know, that's just something that you do in this game. If there's a target off in the distance and they're moving, you need to lead the shot. You can't aim at where they are currently. That's a standard thing that most World of Tanks players are aware of. But this tank, you really need to lead shots. I mean, I was playing this yesterday and I thought, yeah, I've led that shot probably more than enough, and I'd pull the trigger and it would still land behind the target I was shooting at. And at that point I thought, okay, this is putting me off this tank. And when you lead a shot when you think you've led a shot the right amount and you miss consistently, it does start to put a bad taste in your mouth. And on top of that, the alpha for each round is only 240, which is not great in my opinion. And add to that the fact that hitting targets at range, because of the standard round shell velocity, is tough anyway. When you do hit a target, eventually, it feels like you do minimal damage, and the tank just ends up feeling like you really have to work hard to feel effective in a battle. And one thing that I've done, and you're seeing it in this game, you look at the bottom of the screen, this is exactly what I'm doing. To feel more effective, I'm actually firing nothing but heat. I'm firing nothing but gold, because the gold rounds have a velocity of 1219 meters per second. So with that kind of velocity on each shell, you feel more effective. You feel like you can actually hit a target. And given that the only way I felt effective in a battle was to fire gold, that's an immediate no-go for me. You know, I'm not going to recommend a tank to anybody if the only way you'll feel effective is to fire gold. The suspension, this fancy suspension, does provide the gun with 14 degrees of gun depression. But the issue with that now is it's cool. It's very cool. Not many tanks in the game can say they've got stats like that. But the problem with that, in my mind, is the turret armor doesn't hold up. You can use your amazing gun depression to peak ridges. You can use this gun depression to stay hull down as much as you want. But you have to peak. You have to peak with your turret exposed at some point, and you'll still get penned straight through the front of your turret. So it's almost like, okay, this gun depression is great, but I can't use it, really, because I still get shot. You know, whether I'm hull down or not, I still take damage. So to me, it's a bit peculiar. And that's why I'm personally not feeling this tank at all. Yeah, the mobility is average. It's not bad. It's average, coming in at 56 top speed, 56 kilometers an hour for the top speed. But given everything that I've just mentioned, previously, it's not really a selling point. And all in all, I would call this a below average premium for Era 1. But the cost isn't quite what I would say below average, because the base bundle, just the tank on its own, with no extra bits of equipment, nothing like that, no crews, the base package, or the base bundle for this tank, is 8,825 gold. Which, to me, for what you're getting here, what you're seeing in front of you right now, it's not a £30 tank. I don't know what that is in dollars. That might be like $40. It's not worth that, in my opinion. And even if it were sort of affordable, I say, I wouldn't recommend it anyway. So my opinion on this tank is that it feels more like a prototype or a demonstration vehicle for the manually operated suspension. And it's almost as if WarGaming are just demonstrating that, hey, we could put this mechanic in the game, which, fine, that's fair enough. A manually operated system is in the game already, but it's only for the Swedish tank destroyers. The other system that the mediums have is like an automatic system that irritates some players, I know. But, I mean, look at the engagement I'm having right now. I've got the suspension active, and I'm having a really hard time taking out this light tank because I'm only doing like 200 damage per shot, and that's a light tank. And this is what I mean by you have to work so hard in this tank. You have to put so many shots down range just to rack up some damage, and just to kill something you have to put so many shots out, and it feels like it's more effort than it's worth. When you're playing it, it feels like it's more effort than it's worth. And I think from a business point of view, from WarGaming's point of view, if they're I think they are actually. They're demonstrating that there's a new mechanic, which is great. I can't fault them for that. We've got a new mechanic coming to the game, which is excellent. But I think what they've done is they've taken this really cool mechanic and just slapped it onto a vehicle that's just meh, and we'll put a £30 price tag on that, and fingers crossed, hope for the best, someone will buy it, which maybe they will. And if you're the kind of person that desperately wants a tank, a medium, with this manually operated suspension system, then by all means, go ahead, knock yourself out. You can get this tank if you want. I'm not going to tell you no, but for me personally, I do not think this is a tank worth getting, because if you remember, we were all given the opportunity to earn the E3 for free not that long ago. Speaking of the E3, there's one right there. And from what I've experienced in the game, this tank cannot hold its own. It will be outclassed by pretty much everything. If you come up against an E3, you're not going to win. You're just not. And if a premium tank we got for free is going to outclass and outplay a tank that you have to spend £30 on, to me, the logic is the E2 it's just not worth it. Absolutely not worth it when a free tank is better. But again, that's my opinion. If you must have this suspension system in Cold War that's manually operated on a medium, then by all means, you go ahead and get one. I won't say no, but my opinion is that this is just... It's a demonstration vehicle. It's a prototype vehicle to demonstrate a mechanic, and that's about it. I'd like to see this system on a tank that's, well, better. It would be very interesting to see, but this, in my opinion, is not the tank, and I wouldn't recommend anyone buy this. So, there you go. The E3 is better. That's my take on this. Right, so I'm not going to say any more on this one. I've played this one enough now. I don't think I'm going to take this tank out again because it's just not doing it for me. Not at all. And there you have it. That's all I have to say on this tank. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, I really appreciate it if you leave it a like. If you haven't enjoyed it, give it a dislike. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you're all still keeping safe, and I will see you out there.